What's up, tubers? T.O. here, Simplistic Fishing, coming back at you tonight to talk to you about creek fishing in the wintertime. Now, you might not have a creek in your lake, but a lot of these lakes here in North Texas do have creeks, and they are fine opportunities to at least go catch some fish. You won't struggle as much as you do on the main lake. You got them in a little bit of a tighter area, and typically they're a little bit easier to catch. Now, I know I talked on the last video about going out to main lake points, creek channel swings, things like that. That's all still applicable, definitely, and that's going to be the case on most of the lakes that are out there. But if you do have a lake that you're lucky enough to have a river system that comes into it, or what we call a river is really just a couple of creeks that come in. If you have those creeks that come in on the north end, yes, the water's colder, but again, you've narrowed that selection that where they can be from, massive body of water down to just, bank to bank, which makes fishing a little bit easier. So that's what I want to talk to you about tonight. Man, this fishing trip was crazy. Let me just start off by showing you this. This is one GoPro, right? Dead, didn't work, 300 bucks. Boom, second GoPro, I busted it out. Dead, didn't work, another 300 bucks. So I thought, surely, third time's a charm. I'm going with the old trusty, pulled it out, stupid thing didn't work again. So I ended up doing all this video on my queso. I missed out on some of my fish catches because I couldn't figure out the stupid thing. You're gonna see the date stamps actually up on the left-hand side of this, so it's kind of funny. It looks like I filmed it back in 2021 or something like that. The date's totally wrong. Everything's totally wrong about this video, but I still tried to make the best of it and hopefully give you guys some good content to be able to use this winter as we're kind of getting through this December transition into January. It's going to get a little bit tougher, and then, into January, beginning of February, things are going to start to lighten up, get a little bit better. But anyways, let's go ahead and jump into this. Let's talk about creek fishing with me and Ozzy, what we were doing, some fun escapades we had trying to figure out the BFS stuff. Hopefully you guys can learn from that. Then we'll have a few fish catches, and then we're going to talk about the creek channel in general and where you need to focus on all of your fishing when you're up there. Let's go. All right, well, let's just go ahead and we'll start off this video. I'll just give you a little bit of narration here on everything that's going on here as we go through some of this fishing here. And I did catch a few more, but they weren't really worthy of video. They were pretty small, so we won't show those on this video. But here's me just basically starting off the day. I literally just started. Now, one thing to note here is I'm using the BFS stuff, and I've never really thrown in too much BFS. I've thrown a little bit of the BFS stuff with drop shots and things, but I never actually went out cranking with BFS. And I'm using a Berkley Frittside Junior, so pretty small little crankbait, flat-sided crankbait, chartreuse with the black back, and I'm really liking it. I can cast it really well. It has really good feel to it. The challenge that I have is I'm not used to using such light line. And you're gonna see here that it definitely punished me. There's a little bit of a learning curve here when you go from cranking on, 12 to 14 pound test to moving down to 8, maybe even 6 pound tests on here. I can't remember what I put on there, but it's pretty dang light. But you're gonna see here, me and Ozzy are fighting this fish. I've got my drag, I'm letting it go out, all that good stuff. I go to get it and I do the dumbest thing ever. I go to boat flip it here, kind of boat flip, pick it up, and then I go to grab the line. And when I go to grab the line, stupid fish swings a couple times and boom, gone. That was a nice one too. That was probably like a 3.5 or 4 pounder. So set back up the boat again, setting up on this turn, casting across the channel seems to be my best bet. And then over here to my left, there's actually a beaver dam, or maybe that's not beaver dam, that's just a laydown that I'm casting at. But again, I'm on the BFS. I'm on my second Frittside Junior now. Lost my first fish. Here we go again. I was actually even more scared, so this time I loosened up my drag. So you're gonna see here that when I catch this fish is probably 3 pounds at best. So not a huge fish at all, but you're gonna see it takes me like 5 minutes to get this thing in. It seems like it's probably not 5 minutes, but it definitely seems like it. So here I've got them on, and I'm just pulling tons of, I actually don't have them on yet, sorry. I thought I had them on. I'm gonna have them on this next cast. As you'll see, as I cast out here, I'm cranking down, I'm bouncing off of all kinds of debris and stuff like this. I'm right on this creek channel swing that's right here, and I think my depth's probably 6 or 7 feet. It's really not that deep there, so I'm bouncing up shallow, and then I'm also able to hit the channel in the middle. I think I caught this one off that little stick that you see over there to the left side, kind of where that creek opening is, where that little arm comes in. But again, it's taking me forever to get this one in. Ozzy's, all excited. He's ready to see a fish. I'm excited to finally get one in because I'm not going 0 for 2. So of course I go back, I get the net ready after that last one that I lost. I was like, I'll just net them from now on, then I don't have to worry about breaking off. So I'm trying to do everything right here to not make a mistake. And wouldn't you know it, I still make the mistake. So here we go. I'm bringing them in. Now there's a little bit of timber to my right side of my boat, just in front of the trolling motor here, just to the right. It's like a big laydown or something like that. And as I'm getting this guy in, he's gonna bring me left, and then he's gonna bring me right. And once he brings me back to the right here, it's gonna get kind of hung up in that little stump, and it feels like I've lost him. So as he comes back around here, of course, I should have lost him because it took me 10,000 years to get him in the boat. It comes back here, boom, I hit the stump, and then all of a sudden it just stops, no action. I'm just totally stopped. So I think he's off there. I reach down to see if I can get it off the stump, and I'm such an idiot. I had my thumb on the bail, and when I had it on the bail, it just snapped it right off. So that's you guys seeing me. So one other good thing about these Berkeley fritz eyes, you catch all kinds of different fish. You not only catch bass and decent sized bass, but you catch small bass. We caught a lot of smaller bass on this trip as well. I caught that crappie that you see here, and then I also caught some additional white bass as well. So anyways, once this all got done, you're gonna notice here, you can actually see it on that video right there, where you can see where the rod is totally different. And the rod is different because I had to switch off of that BFS gear over to this other gear, hoping that, I wouldn't break off. The problem is it's a little bit heavier. I think I had switched over now to like a 7.3 medium heavy, so it was really too heavy. And you can see, even on my cast, as you're watching me cast here back and forth, it's off. It's just something's not right. Not making good cast here. My casts aren't accurate. I'm short of my targets. All the things you don't want to do as a fisherman, I'm doing right here. But I get a little bit lucky as we come up here again, getting around a bend. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but finally get one in, get one on the board. Of course, that was always nice. But I don't like that Berkeley fritz eye junior on that 7.3 medium heavy. It just seems too big. And what I should have done there is on the left side, on all those rods that you see on the deck, I've got a freaking jerkbait rod right there, right by my foot. But I was too stubborn to tie it on my jerkbait rod because I wanted to keep that jerkbait on there. And I should have definitely done that. I think I would have caught more fish. I felt like once I switched over to this heavier rod, of course my casts aren't as accurate and things like that, and I just ended up I felt like I didn't catch as many fish as I could have. So lesson learned, if you're gonna get that Berkeley fritz eye junior, if you're gonna throw it on BFS, beware you're throwing on some really light line, and if you're used to bigger line like me, it is definitely a learning curve. And then the second thing is just make sure you get the right rod setup, right? 7 foot light, or not 7 foot light, but 7 foot medium. Just a regular 7 foot medium would have been the best bet there if I wasn't going to throw it on that BFS. But guys, got to go out and get you some of those fritz eye juniors for this winter. Those and those Rapala, the OG Slims, are just the bomb for winter cranking. And it's really easy to do. You're basically just going to go up and just throw that around all kinds of cover that's up in those creeks and those rivers, and you'll be surprised at what you catch. It's a pretty nice fish there. So let's switch over now, getting into one of the last, at least decent fish that we catch here. And again, just casting around all of the cover. Any type of cover that I can find that I can cast around, I'm gonna do it. But you're also gonna notice as we go through these videos, and if you even remember back what you've seen so far, is that almost every time I caught something, it was on a turn. It was either coming off the turn or coming into the turn. Right here, I'm right on a turn. I'm getting ready to catch another one here in just a second. And again, I'm just casting around those turns, right where those channels kind of break, and then I'm just casting down and bouncing off stuff. And it's really just a real consistent retrieve. I might stop it if I bump into stuff a little bit, but overall, I'm just grinding it down there and just letting it bump off all kinds of different cover. I think this is right here where we end up getting into one and actually pulling one in the boat here, but it wasn't a giant by any means, but it was definitely another fish. And of course, again, we caught some more there towards the end of the day. None of them were really video worthy, but these were a couple of them. Of course, the best two that I had for the whole day were definitely those first two that I broke off. So it was just a heartbreaker. Again, felt like I missed out on an opportunity, but hey, it was still a good day fishing. Still had a lot of fun. We talked to a lot of people up in the river that day too, and nobody was really catching anything. So that crankbait bite was definitely the thing. You know, most people, you go up there in the river and the first thing they're going to do is they're going to start flipping the cover, just going down the bank line. You can definitely catch fish that way, but this is a very productive way to fish. So let's go ahead and switch over and let's talk about some things that you might not have seen in the video that I really want you to take advantage of when you're out there. All right, in the video that you saw, I was actually fishing Ray Hubbard Lake, but just because you're not fishing close to Ray Hubbard, or maybe you're not in the location of Ray Hubbard, I still think you can learn a lot from this video just by paying attention to the areas that I was fishing to, and then using that same type concept on your lake. So maybe you go out to a bigger lake that has a bigger river system or something like that, or a bigger creek. You can still do the same thing. It's all the same concepts. So let's just talk about it really quick. So as you come in here into what we call our little river system, basically you have this main channel that's right here. And then as you get into the main channel, there's really a couple big turns in the main channel. There's one right here, and there's one right here. And then it splits off to the right. This is a smaller creek. This is actually, I think, more just natural water coming down through the creek, which is it's all natural water. And then this here on the left side, this is actually coming down from the Lavon Dam, which is the lake that's above us up here. So that's what actually creates this whole little river system. And this is really just a great place to fish. Over here on the right-hand side, you've got a lot of hydrilla, and then you're starting to see some hydrilla over here on the left-hand side. But as we're talking about creek fishing in the wintertime, really what I want you to pay attention to is anywhere you have those big bends. Now in here, I've got a couple different places marked, but even in that first spot that you saw me fishing, when I came up there and I broke off on those BFS rods, the first thing I did was I came up here, I came through the split, and I literally stopped right here. So let me go ahead and put a mark right there. I literally stopped right there, and I power pulled down. And the reason why I did that is I got right here on the edge, like right up on the edge of it. And then I was making all of my cast this way, across the channel. And I was casting at cover because luckily this creek channel is not very wide. So I can sit over here and make a cast all the way to the bank over here. And I would just cast here, and I would just fan cast back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And that is how I was actually catching those fish. And then when I stopped getting bites there, I'd go and that day, which it didn't put any video out there, but I'd go back to something slow, and I'd work on those slow baits a little bit to see if maybe I could pick up something that wasn't hitting any of the moving baits. The day that we were out here fishing, I think this was on Saturday, the slow bite just wasn't there for whatever reason, just could not get a bite on the slow stuff. So the fast stuff, the cranking, the reaction bait, that was the deal. So anyways, let's keep moving up. So we go up this river channel, and really what I want you to do is just look for any of the bends. You can see here I've marked all of the bends, and this was basically just me pre-planning out my day on all the places I was going to stop and fish. So usually when you see someone come up in the creek channels, the first thing they do is they drop their trolling motor and they just start fishing. And I do that a ton too, and I'm not saying that you won't see me do that, because I do. It's just fun. It's fun to go and flip different pieces of cover. But I can tell you that your high percentage areas, the place where you're more than likely going to catch some fish, is going to be on these big turns. Now, where on the turn, I don't really know. You know, I've caught them up here right before the turn. I've caught them right after the turn. I've caught them right dead center in the middle of the turn. I've caught them on the inside and the outsides. And that's why you'll see me pretty much just fan cast that whole entire area. I haven't really been able to really hone in on where they like to set up on those turns. I think a lot of it's probably going to depend on current and sun and all of that good stuff. But anyways, these are also deeper spots. Notice that when I zoom in here, this is the deepest spot in that creek channel. If I move up here, same thing. Everything up here, of course, the water's down a little bit, but 6 foot here. But if I go here, now it's 9 foot. And so I would come up here and I would set my boat up like right in here on the shallow side and cast out here towards the deeper stuff. And then as I move my way up the river, I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to come up here. You'll see me come over here, and I'll probably set up right here and maybe cast out here into the deeper side. And then I might move my boat over, because this is a bigger turn, and fish over here casting this way as well as casting this way too. It just depends on really what kind of cover I have. But anywhere going into that bend and then the actual bend itself, for sure I'm gonna fish. And really guys, that's about it. That's the pattern. So if you go back and you look at that video now of me fishing, you're gonna notice that almost every single fish catch I have, there's a bend or there's a turn that's in front of me. And that is basically, that's just the way it works. It's just where the fish are. And so don't waste your time going up in the creek and fishing, you know, down the bank line. Now you're gonna catch some fish down the bank line. Like here's another turn that I kind of missed, you know, so there's probably a pretty good little section right in here. But focus more of your time on those turns. So of course in this one, you know, if we just did the turns, we'd run out of places to fish. So you can just go down the creek bed or the creek channel and fish. But just remember when you get to the turns, when you see any type of a turn, or if you see any type of an inlet where you see another creek coming in, I don't know if this is gonna show it, but there's several areas where there's little creeks that come in. I know there's one right in here where there's a little creek that comes in here. If you see any of those, definitely fish those. Those are acting as points, they're current breaks, things like that. You wanna fish those. Also, if you see any types of beaver dams that are out there, fish the beaver dams. The beaver dams are money places to fish. Of course, big laydowns, stuff like that. That's all things you want to fish. But go out there this winter, try to kind of fine tune things and try this pattern. You know, do it. Just go to the turns and fish the turns and spend the majority of the day on your turns. And if you get tired, you're not catching fish in the turns, then maybe just go down the bank line. But give it a try, guys. I'm telling you, it will change the way you fish the creeks, and you'll be amazed at how you're putting yourself in a lot higher percentage area by doing this and not wasting the time just going back and forth. So anyways, guys, I hope that helps you. Make sure to go out, check out our website, simplisticfishing.com. We've got over 180 lakes now broken down across the south here. So lots of good stuff. We got this broken down for you guys. Go check it out. You can put it on your graph. It'll change the way you fish. And until next time, guys, I hope you catch your PB. Take it easy.